Good afternoon. My name is Robin Thompson, and I'm a student at Texas Tech University seeking a certification as an orientation and mobility specialist. And I am in my spring of 2019 semester, and one of my courses is Anatomy of the Visual System. And as part of my coursework for this class, I am making a video where I am going to hold up a diagram of the eye with some of its basic structures labeled, and I'm going to go over that diagram with you. So let's proceed. This is my diagram of the eye. I'm just going to kind of line that up there, holding it up by hand, so bear with me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the structures in the back of the eye here first. So the first structure is the sclera. It's this outer white coating here, and that is known as the white of the eye. And it's an opaque, fibrous, protective outer layer of the eye containing mainly collagen and some elastic fiber. And the next layer I'm going to go over right here is this dark black line sort of in the middle there, and that's called the choroid. And it's a vascular layer of the eye that lies between the retina and the sclera. And the next inner layer here is the retina. And the retina is a thin, light-sensitive tissue lining the back of the eye that contains the photoreceptor or light-sensing cells known as rods and cones that send visual signals to the brain. Light rays are focused onto the retina through our cornea, pupil, and lens, and the retina converts the light rays into impulses that travel through the optic nerve to our brain, where they are interpreted as images that we see. And on the retina, the sort of central portion of the retina here, there's a thinner layer on the retina, and that's known as the macula. And sharp, clear, straight-ahead vision is processed by the macula, which is the central part of the retina with a high concentration of cones. And within the macula is a little dipped area there you can see, and that's called the fovea centralis, and that's a small central pit composed of closely packed cones located in the center of the macula of the retina. And then this area right here that is exiting the eye is known as the optic nerve, located in the back of the eye. And the job of the optic nerve is to transfer visual information from the retina to the vision centers of the brain via electrical impulses. And the head of the optic nerve, this area right here, is known as the optic disc or optic nerve head. And it's the point of exit for ganglion cell axons leaving the eye. And because there are no rods or cones overlaying the optic disc, it corresponds to a small blind spot in each eye. Now we're going to move to this area right here, known as the vitreous. And most of the eye's interior is filled with the vitreous, which is a gel-like substance that helps the eye maintain a round shape. And there are millions of fine fibers intertwined within the vitreous that are attached to the surface of the retina, the eye's light-sensitive tissue. All right, and now we're going to move to the front portion of my diagram here. And I am going to start with the cornea, which is this outer portion right here that sort of bulbs out. And the cornea is the transparent outermost layer and front part of the eye that covers the iris, pupil, and anterior chamber. And the cornea, with the anterior chamber and lens, refracts light, with the cornea accounting for approximately 2/3 of the eye's total optical power. All right, and then the next area I'm going to talk about here is the iris. And the iris is a thin, circular structure in the eye responsible for controlling the diameter and size of the pupil and thus the amount of light reaching the retina. The iris is the colored part of the eye seen as various shades of blue, green, and brown. Some people are born with different colored eyes, a condition known as heterochromia. This can be expressed as either two different colors within one eye, called central heterochromia, or as two different colored eyes, called complete heterochromia. When a person is born with this condition, it is usually benign. However, if this condition is expressed later in life, it may be a sign of an underlying condition that requires examination to determine if there is a problem that needs to be addressed. And this opening right here in between the iris, that area is a hole known as the pupil, and that allows light to strike the retina. And the area directly behind that right here, that is the lens, and it's a transparent structure behind the iris. The lens bends light rays so that they form a clear image of the back of the eye on the retina. As the lens is elastic, it can change shape, getting fatter to focus closer objects and thinner for distance objects. All right, and the lens right here, it's got attached to it these little things right here. There's just one sort of drawn, and that is the suspensory ligaments. And they're a series of fibers that connect the ciliary body of the eye with the lens. The ciliary body produces aqueous that filters into the anterior chamber of the eye through the pupil, and the ciliary muscles hold the eyes in place and change the shape of the lens to control focus or accommodation of the eyes. Aqueous is a thin, watery fluid located in the anterior and posterior chambers of the eye. And here's the aqueous labeled. And the posterior chamber is located behind the iris and in front of the lens. So that's kind of like this area here, where the anterior chamber of the eye is between the cornea and the iris, in that area right here. Both are filled with aqueous, and the aqueous is produced by the ciliary body, and then it filters into the posterior chamber through the pupil, and that is how it enters into the anterior chamber. And then there is the Schlemm's canal, which, let me hold that up a little bit better right here, or the canal of Schlemm. There's one here and here. And the canal of Schlemm is a circular lymphatic-like vessel in the eye that collects aqueous humor from the anterior chamber and delivers it to aqueous veins, which kind of maintains a proper pressure within the entire eyeball. And then we have the conjunctiva here, which is a thin, transparent layer of tissue that lines the inner surface of the eyelid and covers the white part of the eye. And then the last structure I'm going to mention right here is the ora serrata. And that is right where the retina and the ciliary body kind of meet up. It's the junction between the retina and the ciliary body. Okay, so that's it. That is the basic structures of the eye. I appreciate your time listening to my little video here, and I hope you have a great afternoon. Thank you very much. Bye.